This conference will now be recorded.
So today's subject is AWS CLI. CLI stands for Command Line Interface. To understand that, AWS, Amazon Web Services, provides two ways of interfaces to interact with the cloud. To interact with their cloud, Amazon provides two ways of interfaces. One is we are already using. What is that one? So AWS provides two ways of infrastructure configuration. One we are already using, that is AWS Management Web Console. Till now we are using this one. So mostly we use the same thing, but in normally in real time we use Terraform. Whenever you want to interact with the infrastructure, we use Terraform. So Terraform is not yet started. So time being, so we will have to learn another option provided by Amazon, that is AWS CLI. Okay, AWS CLI is nothing but your command and interface. That means without logging into your console, we can interact with your cloud with using some command arguments which AWS provides. So AWS provides some SDK, so software development kit. It provides some APIs. So using that API methods, you can interact with the cloud. So what we did with the console, so with using the AWS console, so what we used to do is a graphical method to connect to various AMS resources. Their configuration, okay, modification, etc. We used completely graphical way, right? So it is simple simple to use and does not require knowledge of APIs. It is application programming interface. Okay, does not have knowledge of APIs. So without knowing the APIs, you can connect directly to the console and you can work on it. But to work with but when you want to use AWS CLI, you must know the APIs. Okay, so it is. So usually the script provides you with the flexibility. When you use CLI, flexibility to manage multiple AWS resources infrastructure efficiently. So when you will observe more of it. See, when you are using CLI, you have to write your script. You have to write a script. So it will have group of API calls, like when we learned shell scripting. At the time, if you remember, we wrote a script in that we have written three API calls. One is to list out the S3 buckets, and another one is to list out all the AMI users, sorry, IAM users, right? So like even you can describe the existing EC2 instances. So all those APIs or the commands you can write in one script file and you can execute them. Okay, so that way, whereas if there is no CLI, for example, then whatever activities, for example, you want to list the S3 buckets, then you have to go to the graphical interface. There in that you have to search for S3 and you have to go there and you have to list out, you have to click on the buckets, then you will see all the list. Similarly, when you want to see the users list, then you have to go to the IAM dashboard and then you have to see the users, click on the users, and then you have to see the users list. So for every thing you have to go there to the page and you have to check the resources details, right? But whereas with command and or interface, you can at a time you can run all the APIs and all will show you the output at a time. It's very fast. So but it is displaying is fine, but when we are using Terraform, that is the reason I told in the beginning that whatever we are learning till now, whatever we learned till now using AWS cloud, it's like learning a car without with the gears, without learning a car with gears. So you have to take care changing the gears and everything. You alone have to take care, right? It's some example I'm trying to give. But when you go with Terraform, it's like a car without gears, right? Automatically it will take care, it will take care all the activities related to gears, right? So that way Terraform, you will find very advantage, very very you will find very advantageable with when you are working with Terraform, because in Terraform we can do all the activities what we are going to do with AWS command line interface, and more than that actually. So this AWS command line will work only with the AWS cloud. But Terraform, I'm in between. I'm also just trying to explain Terraform in between. So just making a connection actually. So Terraform will work not only with AWS cloud, it can also work with any cloud. It's a cloud independent tool. That is the reason in market there is more demand for Terraform. Similarly with Ansible also. So these tools are cloud independent. They can work on any cloud. But whereas the one which you are trying to understand today, this you can work only on the AWS cloud, and you cannot use these APIs on another cloud. That differences you should understand while learning some concepts. For example, you can use the script, the same thing I described. I'm trying to write here: deploy multiple resources without need to go through. Please be on the line. I got a call. Just a moment, please. Sorry, one moment, please. Okay, so resources without need to go through a complete configuration wizard. So the web pages what we use in AWS console is called nothing but we can call it as a web page or you can call it as a wizard, right? So this difference you should understand. Any questions till now? So as I discussed in our previous session, let me see any messages. One message. Yes, recording is done. Thank you. Right. Next thing is that, as I told you in the previous class, what is that? Whenever you want to access your console, we need to have access key and secret key. Yesterday we saw roles, right? Roles are mostly interact used for interaction between the services. If the services, different services want to communicate among them, then we can go with what you call our roles. But when ourselves, when the DevOps engineer want to interact with the cloud, then he has to use the other methodology that is called access key and secret key. Okay. Now in this example, let's create one access key and secret key, and then we will try to use our CLI. So for that, first of all, before that, we have to install a software. So this is another software. We won't use install softwares on our local machine, but for this one or two demos, for one or two topics, we need require to install some softwares on our local machine. So for that, what we have to install for using this command, AWS CLI, we have to install AWS CLI. We have to install AWS CLI for Windows, Windows or Mac or Linux. Okay, use below link. Okay, the link, let me try. It's https AWS CLI amazon.aws.com. So install or update the latest version of AWS CLI. So for Windows, Linux, we have different versions. Okay, just type AWS CLI, and if it is on for Windows, click on Windows. We support the AWS CLI on Microsoft supported versions of 64-bit Windows. Admin rights to install software. Okay, this is a URL. Okay, this you click on this. So when you click on this button, it is downloading automatically. It is downloaded. So if you are using Linux or Mac OS, you use respective links, respective commands. If you are using Linux, Amazon Linux for example, then use m is okay, it is for removing the CLI. If it is already there, you have to remove it. Okay, and after if you want to install, then you have to install it. To install, use this command. If it's already there, then remove it. Okay, there are various ways. So our search, just click on AWS CLI and click on the install AWS CLI. Okay, click on Windows and select on this link, download the. Okay, it is downloaded just now. Go to downloads. Here is a software installed. Okay, double click on it. Next, I accept, then click on next. Next, now install. Say yes. Now click on finish. Now it is finished. Next, what we have to do? Click on command prompt. command prompt. Now to check whether our software installed or not, then we have to check. We have to use a command called AWS type AWS hyphen version. Now it is displaying the version AWS CLI 2.15, and Python also required to install to get installed. So Python version also showing here. Okay, so the command, first of all, you go through this link for Windows. Use this link. Okay, and then to to verify the version of the CLI, type your prompt. Just type AWS version. Okay. Then next step, if you remember, while doing shell scripting, we have did a step called AWS configure. Same command, you have to use AWS configure. When you type this command, then it will prompt you to enter your access key and private access key. Configure. See, it's asking for access key ID. So already it's showing some access key here. Okay, long maybe I've used it before. No problem. What I will do now? Go to our IAM. Let's create an IAM user, because you can use root user access key as well, but it's not recommended. So there are two ways I showed you on that day. One way is getting access key and secret access key. You can go to your root user name on the right corner, and you can click on security credentials. And when you scroll down, we have option called access keys. You can create access key, no problem. But problem is what? You are using access keys of a root user. And you know very well a root user can do anything, right? Normal in real time, we won't use this access key. Very rare scenario we use a root user access keys. So for that reason, what I will do, I will you create a user. Go to the left side. I'll create a user. Create a user. Something I will say RAM. Okay. Next. Okay. As of now, I don't want to be add to any group. I don't want to give any permissions as of now. Click on next button. Okay. Now create user. Now user has been created. RAM is created. Next, what you have to do? Click on RAM name here. Here for the under security credentials, click on security credentials. Just come down. Here we have option called access keys. So this belongs to whom? Not the root user, but it belongs to RAM user. But RAM as of now no permissions, right? But still let's try. Create access. Okay, create access. So what you want to do with this access? I want to use case. I want to use it with command and interface, local code, application running on AWS cloud. Various options are there. So which for which purpose you want to use? Application running outside of AWS, in that I want to use. So normally in the application, if it is Java application, .NET application, in that they use configuration files. They use configuration files in their application. There are multiple files. One of them is configuration files. These configuration files normally used to set this kind of key value. Okay, they will mention in this configuration that the key is access key and its value is the value which we are going to generate now. So for our purpose, I will use command line interface, select it and come down and click on next button. I understand above recommendation, want to proceed to create an access key. Okay, you select this one and next click on next button. Tag is not required, it's not mandatory. Click on create access key. Now we got, you see, user RAM and it's RAM's access key. Okay, and this is the access key password, secret access key. And now let's copy this one and copy this one. Now give this new access key, enter, and the what is the password? Password I will copy the secret access key that you have to paste, enter. Default region name. So region name is AP South 1, right? So already AP South 1 is there, or else you can give AP Again you can give, if it changed you can give new region name also. And output, what way you want to print out the output? We have different formats, table format, various formats are there, but as of now press enter. Now it is configured. Now let me check whether our details are affected or not. Just again type configure, and if you see, the ending key is now 3U0R. So same thing, right? The same value it is coming. That means the previously it was this one, now it is overwritten with your new value. Okay, since I entered it, let me, I just ignore it. Let's see, ignore it, clear the screen. Here we have to use CLS. I don't want to use CLS now. Let it be, no problem. Now I want to display the buckets. Now for example, I want to list out the buckets, but as of now I don't have any bucket. Let me check. Duplicate this window. Here search for S3. Click on S3. So one bucket is there, elastic beanstalk bucket is there. I want to create one more bucket. So region, I want to put it into our Mumbai region, Mumbai's AP South one, and this one new bucket, 7th March. Just enable, disable this one and access these permissions. Acknowledge. Come down. Click create bucket. So it seems name is already there. Okay, no problem. 2024. Very nice. You can see here some 789. Sorry, did I used capital letter? That is a problem. Not the name, not the problem with the name. I used capital letter. That is a problem. I used M as a capital. I'm not reading the error message. That is a problem. Create bucket. So bucket is created. Now fine. Now I want to see the list of buckets. So what is the command? Same command which we used in our shell scripting. S3. Okay. ls. What is saying? An error occurred. Access denied. When calling the list buckets operation, access denied. So access is denied. Why? Because that user RAM doesn't have any permission to view the list of buckets, right? So for that, what you have to do? Go to our RAM user and let's give him some permissions. Okay. So go to RAM. So security credentials, right? And here, sorry, where is that? I'm sorry. Permissions. Click on permissions and add permissions. Add permissions. Now add attach policy directly. Select this one and here you type S3 read only access. See, we have S3 read only access. Select them. Next, add permission. Now one policy added. Okay. Now let's try the same thing again. Now you observed, this way we can list out all the S3 buckets, and more importantly you should also understand how we have the control on that user. So on that IAM user we can provide him all the only required permissions. Please let me know if you have any questions. Now let's try to create a bucket. This guy doesn't have this guy doesn't have permission to create a bucket, but still let's try to create a bucket here. So for that, AWS S3, but creating a bucket you should use MB. MB is a command parameter you have to pass to S3 command, and MB, and this will create a bucket. Now make bucket, and bucket, what's the bucket you want name you want to create? Okay. So this is some FedEx documents. This is the bucket I want to create. That's on 7th March. No capital letters here, and press enter. You should get an error saying that invalid argument type. Invalid argument type. Yes, actually here you have to give just not a bucket name. You should say S3 colon hyphen hyphen. This way you have to give S3 colon hyphen hyphen and the bucket name. Press enter now. Now this time a proper error information is coming. Make bucket failed. So an error occurred. Access denied. Hope you understood. This person does not have permission. He having only read only permission. He having only read only permission. So for that I have to give full access. Delete it. Remove it. Now I will give S3 full access. I'm sorry, not here. Click on add permissions. Add permission. Attach policies directly. Type here S3 full access. When you type that, you get S3 full access. Now this person can create a bucket, delete a bucket, he can do anything. Okay, add permissions. It is done now. You're having full access. This time let's try. You see now he is successfully able to create. He is successfully able to create. And let's check. Go to the bucket list and we should see one more list here. One more bucket should be added here. So where is the refresh button? Yeah, here it is. You see FedEx documents 7th March has been created. This way we can use command line arguments. So similarly, for example, I don't have any what do you call instances running. Let me create one instance. So remember, we are not going to use them in real time. In real time, we will be using Terraform. We will be using Terraform to do this all these activities. Okay, server one, one server I want to create. So whenever you want to see the key here, you should understand that some problem with the region. The region, if you see, automatically it went to North Virginia. Okay, at the time you just come over here and select Mumbai region. Okay, sometimes it happens. Again, type server Amazon Linux we have taken key. This time you will see the key now. Whenever you get such problem, you should understand something problem with the region. Click on launch instance. Now this instance is running. Let's wait to let's come make it wait till it come to running state. Now it is in running state. Then what command we have to we used to see the all the configuration of this instance. EC2 we used this command previously in our shell scripting. Describe instances, but this person doesn't have access permission, right? He's unauthorized user. He don't have access permission, right? For that reason, what we have to do, and this time I will give him full access. So that I want to show you another example as well. So here add one more permission. As I told you, normally we use the groups to assign the permissions, not like this. Sake of exam, just to show you the example, I'm giving it EC2 full access. Select it. Next, add permission. Now let's run this command now. What's happening? Why is not saved? What permissions you having? Easy to full access, right? Right. It has not taken effect immediately, so it took some time. That is the reason the command has failed. But otherwise, so the instance name and its state, so it's showing another instance. Previously, it might be terminated some instance. So press enter here. When you press enter, you'll get all the information of all the instances running on the cloud. So one instance is running and it having public IP something 178. Let's check that. 178 is a public IP of the running instance. Is that so? Let's try. C178 is a public IP. That means this and it's a instance ending with CC2F. So here is a instance CC2F is instance ID. So this way we can get all the details of this instance. Okay. Now, for example, I want to stop this instance. I want to stop this running instance. You can do it like no AWS EC2 stop instances hyphen. You have to give the instance ID. Which instance you want to stop? Instance IDs, and you have to give the instance IDs. So for that, let's copy this instance ID. I copied it and paste it. So this AWS EC2 instance stop instances instance IDs. Okay, and press enter. Because you're having full access, you should able to run stopping instances. Now when you run this state, the previous state was this one, current state is stopping. When you press again above command, again if you run this command, the status will change. Now see, now the previous stopping, still it is same, previous state also stopping, current state also stopping. Let's see. When you refresh, it is stopped now. So again when you run this time state has been stopped. So like that we have lot of commands, right? EC2, okay, CLI type your documentation. So it's a command references. So we have these are there are all the commands. Out of this we have used one or two, that's all. Similarly for S3 also we have a lot of commands. So in real time we cannot remember all of this, right? If at all you want to use them, don't worry, we always have to go to this documentation and we have to use them whenever required. So now you use stop instances, the same this thing you used. When you click on it, it will show you more details about that command stop instances and its description and various parameters that it takes. Any questions till now, please? So like this we can use multiple commands as per requirement, but as I told you in the beginning, we mostly use Terraform. So just I want to introduce about AWS CLI. So how can we use it? That's only the intention. Otherwise in real time we very rarely use, we mostly use what you call Terraform for creating the infrastructure, for stopping or starting or everything whatever you want. Whenever you're dealing with the infrastructure, you always use Terraform. Let me know if you have any questions. So if you don't have any questions, then I will move to another topic, that is AWS RDS, that is relational database. So meanwhile, what I will do, what we have to do, we are whatever we have created, remove them. They stop, right? First of all, start terminate it, and then the user I don't want, this user I don't want, select him, delete it. So you clean up your resources whenever you create it. Okay, that is done now. And next is RDS. So as you know, right, what is, if you don't know, then developers or database engineers, they know what is database is. And I mentioned you in our examples as well. Whenever you are working on with any web application like amazon.in, in amazon.in, when you click on it, you will get details all the details of various products, images and everything. You will get it, right? So these images and everything are all stored in one single location. That location is called database. Database is a software. Actually, database is a software again. That software made by different companies like Microsoft have their own database called SQL Server. Oracle also have their own Oracle software, right? So like that, we have PostgreSQL. Okay, we have MySQL. Okay, Aurora. Many databases are there. But end of the day, why we have to use database? So database is such a software which will efficiently search for a data, whatever data you want to get from that database. First of all, initially we have to store all the required details into the database. Once you stored in the database, then the database software will help us. It will help us both for, it will help us for adding the data inside the database. Okay, getting the data from the database again later if you want. Okay, you can delete the data if you want. That means whatever you want, you can allow it, it will allow it to do it. But main thing is that it will, the searching capability, for suppose you have lakhs of data, and in that lakhs of data you want to get some particular data, then database is very efficient in fetching you that information and it will give you in seconds. It will fetch and search and it will fetch you the details information in seconds. Manually we cannot do it. Manually developers cannot develop that efficiently. Okay, so and again, why to reinvent? Already there is software which is already doing these things. Then why to write a program development for creating a database, new database? So that is the reason most of the IT field, either they are Java developers or .NET developers, whatever kind of developers they are, they will end of the day they will use a database. So Amazon also, when you click, it is Amazon is a front end. So I tell you, every application will contain three layers. Every application, it is not required to understand, but better, it's very simple. So it will contain a front end. Sorry, is whenever you enter amazon.in, you'll get some interface on your browser, right? That is called user interface. It is called front end. Next is backend. The backend normally it contains the logic, business logic. So business logic that we anyway don't have access, the business logic, which will be running in your private cloud, sorry, in your private subnet. This backend is another software running in your another server. So that server will be available in your private subnet, because only front end application will be available in your public subnet. Just be on the line, one moment please. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you are discussing about backend. So this backend normally they will write the business logic by the developers, and finally we will have database. As I told you, database contains all the data. So whenever in the front end you clicked on a mobile image, for example, you will get more details about that mobile details, right? Actually, that whenever you click the mobile application, the request goes through your backend, from backend to your database. In the backend, it will check. First of all, it will check various conditions, and after basing on that, it will send the details to the database. So what the database has to get, that what details it has to get, that information backend will pass to the database, and database will get the details from its database, and it will give the results to the backend, and backend will again send that information to the front end, and front end will display you the details whatever the end user is looking for. End users will communicate with our application using front end. or user interface. Okay, when end user when end user perform some operation in the front end, then it will send request to the backend. As discussed, backend contains the business logic of the application. Some problem. So it's showing poor connection. Any problem? Are you able to hear my voice clearly? Any problem? Please confirm if any issue or message me. If no issues, just message me no. Are you able to hear me properly?
Yes, Madan.
Thank you. So that is about the backend contains the business logic of the application. And backend logic will communicate with our database to perform DB activities like what? Insert, update. You can update the data. That means you can add more data. You can retrieve the data, and finally you can delete the data if you want. Right? These things you can do. Okay. So now we have Amazon providing a service called AWS RDS. Amazon providing a service called RDS. So if you don't want to use RDS, then normally till date before cloud, even now also most of the companies are still using their on premises. They are creating their database on their own database, on their own data center, on their own on premises. They are not using, some companies are not using the cloud provided service, that is RDS. So if you don't use RDS, AWS RDS, if you don't use, then what challenges you can face if you are doing it yourself? Challenges with the database. By knowing the challenges, you will understand what are the benefits company going to be gain if it uses AWS RDS. Okay. First of all, as you know, set up a server to install the database. Set up a machine or server to install the database software. It could be from any company. Oracle, it can be SQL Server, or it could be anything. Okay, and then what you have to do? First of all, you have to purchase the database software license. That you have to do, and then what do you do? Install this database software into our server. These things you already know, and you have to do what? Set up the network for our clients, for our machines. Sorry. So a LAN setup should be made if you have multiple servers, and you have to use a LAN network so that your backend application can communicate with your server. Right? Of course, these are very basic things like setup, power. Of course, everything you have to do, right? Everything you have to take care. Not only with database server, if you take any instance, if even you take EC2 instance also, we have to do the same thing, right? It applies to our database server as well. That is the reason I'm adding here a server room or data center to keep our machines. And what else? Of course, this is the very common thing. Cloud benefits you already know, and you have to maintain AC as well. Set up AC for 24/7, right? And also, most importantly, when you come to database, set up database backups. You have to take backups your own, and if something goes wrong, then you have to do the disaster recovery. You should have a plan. So you are, as your administrator, you should have a plan. So these are all. If you don't use your what you call AWS RDS, if you don't use these things, you have to do everything. You have to do yourself. Okay, set up security. Many things are comes, etc. Many are there. Okay, many are there. Okay, so therefore, if we use AWS cloud, then AWS will take care of all the above activities. Activities, okay, which are required to set up a database, our application. Right now, in AWS, we have AWS RDS service to create and set up database required for our application. So everything AWS will take care, and how it will take care by using our RDS service, and RDS service will take care for everything whatever we discussed above, all these 10 points, more than that which I have not mentioned. So everything it will take care. So then coming to pricing, we just need to pay the money and use database using AWS RDS service. That means you no need to worry about purchasing a license of one of any software like SQL Server, Oracle, which service, which always you are, which software you want, which database software you want. You don't need to worry. You have to just select which software you want to use. Once you select it, remaining everything, licenses and everything, it will take care. Amazon Cloud will take care. So no, you don't need to worry about anything like licenses, buying the software licenses. No need to worry. Everything Amazon will take care. Like in EC2 instance also, we are selecting Windows, we are selecting Ubuntu, we're selecting AWS Amazon Linux. Of course, these Linux are free, but when you are selecting Windows, definitely those you have to buy a license, right? So, but we are not buying any license over there. So it is everything included. Everything is included, of course. So for that, you don't need to pay any extra money to buy the license. The same thing applies with our RDS as well. Okay, DB setup and maintenance will be taken care by AWS admin team. So AWS also will have their own admin team, right? Because AWS having data centers, that means in AWS they also having their own administration team. Like in Infosys, they have admin data center, and AWS also have data center. So in AWS data center also they will have employees like administrators. Okay, using RDS we can easily set up, operate, and scale up a scale up or down, okay, both a relational database, the cloud. Till now, do you have any questions? This is some basic theory about RDS. So who are non-IT, they should understand that it's a simple database. So for every application, a database must, and in real time, in nowadays people are going with the cloud database, but still some companies are doing all this stuff themselves. They're still doing themselves. So some companies actually they won't trust actually, because if they have very critical data, for example, so what they do, they use they create a server on their own on premises, but they will deploy their application on the cloud, but the database they will set up in their on premises. So by this they are using what kind of cloud? Hybrid cloud. They are using hybrid cloud. So database will be on the on premises, and application will be on the cloud. That way they will work. If the database does if the some companies go completely on the cloud, if they trust the cloud and if they believe that the data is not that critical, so if they have backups, they can go with completely on the to the cloud, completely to the cloud. Okay, anyway, let's it's time for practicals now. Let's see how we can create a database. Now you simply select RDS service, type your RDS. Here we have RDS, managed relation database service. Click on it. Right, now you see resources, DB instances. So out of 40, 0 are used. So DB clusters, various information are there. Now in this, click on create database. Okay, close this. You can click on create database. We have standard create and easy create. Okay, let's go see. If you observe here carefully, easy create, that means it will set up everything by default. Everything will be set up by default, so I don't want to do that. I want to go with standard create, so that we can set up ourselves step by step. Okay, here you will set up all the configuration options, including ones for availability, security, backups, and maintenance. Everything we will set up. And if you scroll down, we have different softwares. We call them as not softwares, we call them as engines. Okay, engine options. We won't call them softwares. These are the different softwares, database softwares are engines provided by different companies. One is Aurora, MySQL compatible, Aurora PostgreSQL compatible, MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL Server, IBM DB2. So as of now, the cloud is supporting some major databases. SQL Server is a major software. This is completely most of the .NET applications, they use SQL Server. Most of the most of the applications which are developed in .NET, they mostly use SQL Server. And when come to Java, they mostly go for Oracle. They mostly go for Oracle. Okay, so there are very templates now. So for a student's example, what we will do, we'll take MySQL. Let's select MySQL. Okay, select MySQL engine or MySQL database software, select it. And it supports, so MySQL is the most popular option, open source database in the world. MySQL on RDS offers the rich features of MySQL Community Edition with the flexibility to easily scale and compute resources or storage capacity for your database. Supports database size up to 64 terabytes. Okay, it supports up to 64 terabytes. And moreover, you should understand one important thing. What we are trying to do here, actually, as a DevOps engineer, what we do, we create database, okay, and verify the connection, and finally create database, verify the connection, and finally we will provide the endpoint URL. What is this endpoint URL? See, when a database created by us as a DevOps engineer, we will get a requirement. What they will say, developers will say that create a database on the cloud and provide us the endpoint. So this endpoint, the developers will do what? They will use this endpoint. They will integrate this endpoint in their configuration file. In their file, in their in their project, they will have multiple files. I told you. In that, one of them is configuration files. In that configuration file, they will use this endpoint URL. Whatever the DevOps engineers provides to them, that URL they will use. By using that, what happens? What happens is that now onwards, their application, is it in Java or .NET or in any language, that application will communicate with your database. So database is created by us and will provide the endpoint, and developers will use this endpoint in their program. Okay, now onwards, that they will communicate with the database using this URL. They will not manually come to our database. Manually we will create it. Manually we will create the database. We will create the database, but they will not create the database. We will create it, and then we will give the link. So the developers no need to worry about creating the database. They will use the endpoint provided by DevOps engineer. So our job is just to create the endpoint. So let's see how we will create endpoint, how we will how we will verify the connection. That we will try to understand. Now, as of now, I have selected MySQL. Come down. Now here it's saying these are different hidden operation filters. We leave it. Now here we have templates. So engine, which version it is using? The latest version, MySQL 8.0.35. This is the latest version it is using. Next, again, which version to use? This information also provided by the developers. Developers may be so if developers may be using different versions. For example, if you take SQL, they will ask you for different versions. They will ask you different versions. They will mention you which version they want to use. So that way they will ask you version. They will mention you. We cannot select ourselves. They will provide you the complete details. So by default, it has selected 8.0.35 and template. So choose a sample template to meet your use case. So is this database for the production environment or dev and test environment or free tier? So in real time, if developers are testing their application, then they can choose for dev test. If it is for production, they can go with production. So whatever you selected, based on that, the configurations of this RDS will be different. So for now, we want use a free tier. We'll go with a free tier. Use RDS free tier to develop new applications, test existing applications, test existing applications, or gain hands-on experience with Amazon RDS. But if you go with production, use defaults for high availability and fast, consistent performance. Right? Like that, it will change. Now scroll down. So database instance identifier, you can change this name if you want, but as of now I don't want to change this as of now. And what is the username for the database to log into that database? So what username you want to give? You can give any name, you can change this name or whatever you want, you can do it. Okay, but now I want to keep this as it is. And password to log into this database, I want username I want to keep it as admin only, but password you can auto generate it or you can give your own password. I will give my own password. This password we are given. Then instance configuration, as of now leave it. So storage type, it is using general purpose SSD GP2. So and these things you let it remain like that. And which VPC you are using, going to use? If you are using your own VPC, you can normally in real time we use our own VPC. We won't use default VPC. And subnet group, it is using default. Let it be default and make it public access. You have to change this. You have to change it to public access. Yes, you have to select yes. And then firewall, it has selected default. Let it be the default only. Okay, in default, if you go to default, it allows all the traffic so that we can connect to our database. And zone, no preference, let it be. Go to additional configuration. If you see here, as I told you, whenever you want to connect a Amazon Linux, we require a SSH protocol. For Windows, for SSH we require 22 port number 22, right? And for Windows, we need RDS protocol, and for that we have a number, we have a different port number 3369. Here it is to connect to this database MySQL, it requires 3306. So 3306 is the port we should create. But anyway, the security group with default will allow all the traffic. We no need to mention add another rule in our security group. Let it be, no problem. And database authentication is password authentication. monitoring, if you want monitoring, you can select it monitoring. Go on to additional configuration. So what is your database name you want to give? So for example, I am dealing with a project and the project name is FedEx. Then of course user developers will give that information as well. They will only give the information. So here but for now I will thinking it as I will give a name as FedEx database, FedEx database for example. And then default parameters, let it be default MySQL 8.0 option group. And backup, enable automated backups. In real time we will enable it, but now I don't want to enable it. I am removing it. Okay, enable encryption, I don't want to enable, but in real time we will enable it, but I'm not taking it. Okay, but default a role is assigned already, role service linked role already assigned, a default role is already there. And next is the total expenditure, estimated monthly cost. It's not free service. So so the charge is, if you're using hourly basis, a monthly basis, sorry, 14.71 USD dollars will be charged. So when you practicing, after practicing you delete it, a minor charge will applied, maybe some 5 rupees 10 rupees, nothing more than that. So Amazon RDS free tier is available for you for 12 months. Okay, each calendar month the free tier will be allow you to use the Amazon RDS resource is listed below for free. 750 hours of Amazon RDS in single AZ, Okay, and for our S3 for our EC2 instances we use T2 micro. For database they use db.t2 micro and db.t3 micro or db.t4g micro instance. 20 GB of SSD is free. 20 GB of automated backups are free. Anyway, backup I have disabled now. Okay, in real time we don't need to worry about these things because anyway company will take care, we don't need to worry about these things. Finally, create the database. So till now what we did, so till now we selected our MySQL database, engine we have to select, and standard create we selected, and then filter tier. If you have selected easy option, easy create, if you selected, everything will be auto selected, but we went for standard. And template filter we have selected, and here admin is the default username, password I have changed. And here public access you should make it as yes only. It is by default it will be no, you should make it as yes. And default security group will be default only. That's all, nothing more than that. Backups, if you are there backups, you can remove it. If you don't remove it also, no problem. After practicing it you delete the RDS service immediately. If it is by default it will be enabled, and encryption also enabled. If you forgot to disable, no problem, don't worry. And finally click on create database. What is saying, the initial database name as invalid character, use letters, numbers and hyphen. Okay, so underscore hyphen don't use underscore. If you want, use underscore. So it's creating a database. So just close this window. It's creating. This database creation will take some time. Okay, now while it is creating, let's do some other things parallelly. As I told you, what we have to give, we have to give the endpoint. Okay, we have to give the endpoint. You see, to give that, what we have to do is view credential details. First you will get view credential, click on that. You will get admin name and password. Okay, both copy them. Username is admin, password I copied it. This is a password. And one more thing that database will give you. Close this. Once it completes, it will also give us the endpoint. That is, endpoint is very important. That because that we have to provide to the end user. Okay, these details and the port number we already know, but we have to give to the user. Okay, that's default, no need to give, but still they will ask you. The developers don't know about these details, but anyway, for MySQL it uses the port number 3306. Endpoint is pending now. That also will get in a moment once this database is ready. So after practicing deleting also it will take some time. And one important thing, the snapshot is created here. You see on the left side snapshots. Okay, right click on it, open it, new window, new tab. Now it is not there, but once it is ready you will get a snapshot as well. So that also you need to be deleted later on. Now it is ready now. Okay, it is available. Now click on view connection details. You see a endpoint is generated. This is endpoint. This is endpoint, we will give it to the developers. Okay, copy this. This link will, when we provide to our developers, what they will do, they will use this link in their application, and then onwards the application can communicate with the database. And once the application is connected, then they can do all these activities. From the backend logic, they will insert, update, retrieve, and delete. Okay, these things they will do. Actually our job ends here. But still, I told you, we have to verify the connection. Okay, let's, before that they will come to us and they inform us that is not working. Better we test it and be confident. When they come back to us, then we can tell them that we have tested it, it's verifying fine. So please test at your end whether you configured it properly or not. You have to verify at your end. That way we can answer to him. Okay, what about the snapshot? It's not yet come. Let's see. Okay, backups have removed now. Maybe the because of that snapshot is not created. Then next, what I have to do now? How to check a connection? Actually, for checking a connection, we don't have application, right? We don't have their application. So then how can I test it? So we have a tool called to test the connection. Install a tool that is what you call MySQL Workbench. Just for temporary purpose, you can use this tool. Online is our tool. Once we install, we can test it from whether the connection is working properly or not. Okay, the link is what? So link, let's try MySQL Workbench. So this is the link, MySQL Workbench. Click on this MySQL Workbench. So what it is saying, downloads. Click on downloads. Mm, one moment, please. For Windows, example, download MySQL Workbench. Okay, this one, let's try. You see, this is the link. I'm copying this link here. Now if you're using Windows, if you are using different versions, you can go with Ubuntu. You will get different uh, options there. But Windows, you select Windows just for testing purpose. Now download it. So don't click on login or sign up, don't click on that. Just come down here, click on no thanks, just start my download. So once it is ready, double click on it. Okay, now click on next, 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 install. Yes. Why, what are this extra step? This step is not required, just for checking purpose connection is working or not. That is only, actually our job is end here. As a DevOps engineer, our job ends here. Once we got this, that's all. Our job is, that's all, finished. Okay, launch MySQL workbench. Now it is checked. Okay, finish it. Now, so this application launched. Welcome to MySQL branch. Okay, here what you have to do, plus symbol is there, right? Plus symbol, click on plus symbol. The plus symbol, okay, you can give connection name anything. Okay, uh, MySQL connection test, something I'm giving. And then connection method standard TCP IP it's showing. What I will do, let's go to our link here, copy this endpoint, copy this endpoint, and paste that endpoint in your connection method. Here you copy. Okay, I'm sorry, it's standard TCP, right? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. In the host name, connection method is standard TCP IP only. Host name, it is 127.0.0.1. So remove it and give our endpoint. So endpoint, this endpoint we have to give. Now the MySQL software has to connect to our MSQL, our AWS RDS. But username is what? Your username is admin. And password, store in vault. Click on store in vault button. You type here and then click on OK. Okay, now click on test connection. What we did, we given some name, host name, we pasted the endpoint, and username and password we entered. Now click on test connection. What happened? Is it is trying to connect to our database. unable to connect to the local host, but we have not given the local host, right? Cancel it. TV connection. It is pointing to other region. That could be a problem. By default, it went to North Virginia. We'll see that. See, if I will try one more minute, if it does not work, then we'll reconnect on Monday, and we'll redo this same thing again. Trying now, it will take some more time. As you know, if I do some changes, we have only a few minutes time. So we'll try this on Monday again. Let me try for one more minute. East country east, US east 1B. No problem. Okay, no problem. I will end up the session now here. We'll connect on Monday and we will redo the same thing. It won't take much time on Monday. We'll complete this on Monday morning in 15 minutes. Okay, but actually, one moment, please. Cancel it. But even then, it should work. Next one. No problem. We'll end up the session today. On Monday, we'll connect. Tomorrow, we don't have class. Okay. So any questions here, please? If you have any questions, let me know. It's a normal. This task we only testing. Actually, actually our job ends here. So now, as we saw, such issues we may face. When we facing some issues, we understood that okay, accidentally we created in North Virginia. So this kind of issues will be come out if you don't test it. If you have not tested, no, then we would have given this endpoint to them, and this endpoint is pointing to US East 1, that is North Virginia. It is not pointing to the region which we are planned for. Okay, so something happened in that region. That we'll see that later on Monday morning. We'll try to fix this issue. Okay, but now for now, what we have to do, You have to select this instance and you have to delete it. Delete it. Hit final snapshot. You have to uncheck it. Only then this button will be enabled. So final your snapshot will be created later. Once you delete it, that you have to delete the final snapshot later. So uncheck it and come over here. So one moment please. Why it is behaving differently? Okay, that is fine. Our instance relation. Okay, okay.
Madan, enter delete me.
Yes. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's deleting now. It is deleting now. It's okay. It will take some long time. We will connect on Monday morning. Again, we will debug this issue and see what was the issue which we facing today. Okay. We connect on Monday morning. Okay. Have a long weekend. Take care.